Ladies and gentlemen, um, what do you do when you feel like your partner doesn't understand you? It's a question that touches the very core of human relationships. Feeling misunderstood can create an emotional chasm, leading to frustration, resentment, or even disconnection. But instead of succumbing to those feelings, consider that this moment is an opportunity, a chance for growth, transformation, and deeper connection. Misunderstandings are not barriers, but invitations to evolve together. When your partner doesn't seem to understand you, the first and most important step is to pause and reflect. Often we rush to defend ourselves, to explain, or to argue our point of view. But true connection doesn't come from defense, it comes from presence. Take a moment to sit with your feelings. Ask yourself, what am I truly experiencing right now? Is this about my partner, or is it about something deeper within me? Understanding begins with self-awareness. The energy you bring to the conversation will set the tone for how your partner responds. The next step is to cultivate curiosity. Instead of assuming that your partner is unwilling to understand, approach the situation with an open mind. Ask questions, not accusatory ones, but ones that seek to understand their perspective. What did you hear me say, or how does this situation feel for you? Can open doors to a new level of dialogue. Curiosity dissolves assumptions and creates space for both partners to be heard. It's also essential to express yourself with clarity and authenticity. Misunderstandings often arise because we assume our partner can read between the lines or intuitively grasp what we're feeling. But communication is an art that requires conscious effort. Speak from your heart, not from a place of blame. Use statements to share your experience. I feel unseen when this happens, instead of you never listen to me. When you express your feelings without attack, your words invite understanding instead of defensiveness. Another key to bridging the gap is empathy. When we feel misunderstood, it's easy to focus entirely on our own experience. But true connection requires us to also step into our partner's shoes. What might they be feeling in this moment? What fears or wounds might be influencing their actions? Empathy isn't about excusing behavior, it's about seeing the humanity in the person you love. When you show empathy, you create a safe space where understanding can flourish. Sometimes, despite your best efforts, your partner may still struggle to understand you. In these moments, patience becomes your greatest ally. Growth and connection take time, and healing isn't always linear. Remember that the journey of understanding isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Every small step toward deeper connection is meaningful. Be gentle with yourself and your partner as you navigate this path together. Finally, recognize that the ultimate key to being understood lies in self-love and self-acceptance. When you anchor yourself in your own worth, you no longer depend solely on your partner's understanding to feel whole. You create a foundation of inner peace that allows you to show up with compassion and strength, even in the face of misunderstanding. And as you embody this energy, you inspire your partner to rise to the occasion and meet you in a space of love and understanding. When you feel misunderstood in a relationship, the first and most vital step is to pause and reflect. This simple act of slowing down can change the entire trajectory of your interactions. Often, in the heat of the moment, emotions take over and we rush to defend ourselves, to explain, or even to assign blame. But when you pause, you create space to breathe, space to think, and space to understand what's truly happening beneath the surface. That space can be the difference between a conversation that builds connection and one that deepens division. Reflection begins with turning inward. Misunderstanding often triggers strong emotions, frustration, sadness, or even anger. These feelings can cloud your ability to communicate effectively or see the situation clearly. By taking a moment to step back, you can ask yourself important questions. What am I really feeling right now? Why does this situation bother me so deeply? Is this a pattern I've noticed before? These questions aren't about pointing fingers at your partner, they're about uncovering what's happening within you. When you pause to reflect, you may realize that your reaction is tied to something deeper than the immediate situation. Perhaps you're feeling unheard because of a past experience where your voice wasn't valued. Or maybe you're interpreting your partner's behavior as rejection because of a fear of abandonment. These deeper layers of understanding give you valuable insight into your emotions and reactions. They allow you to approach the conversation with clarity and awareness rather than simply reacting to the surface level conflict. Reflection also helps you consider your partner's perspective. While it's natural to focus on your own feelings when you feel misunderstood, taking a step back allows you to ask, what might my partner be experiencing right now? Could they be reacting out of their own fears or insecurities? When you recognize that misunderstandings are rarely one-sided, you open the door to a more compassionate and collaborative dialogue. Pausing to reflect doesn't mean ignoring your emotions or avoiding the issue. It means giving yourself the time to process those emotions and approach the situation from a place of balance. Imagine trying to solve a puzzle when you're frustrated or distracted. It's much harder than when you're calm and focused. The same principle applies to relationships. When you take the time to reflect, you approach the situation with a clearer mind and a more open heart. This process of reflection also allows you to identify what you truly need from the interaction. Are you seeking validation, an apology, or simply a chance to be heard? When you're clear about your own needs, you can communicate them more effectively. Instead of saying, "You never listen to me," you might say, "I really need to feel heard in this moment." This clarity not only helps you express yourself, but also makes it easier for your partner to understand and respond to your needs. The power of pausing and reflecting is that it shifts the energy of the conversation. Instead of reacting impulsively or letting the situation escalate, you bring intentionality and thoughtfulness to the interaction. This shift can create a ripple effect, encouraging your partner to do the same. When both people approach the situation with reflection and understanding, the potential for connection and resolution grows exponentially. In the end, pausing to reflect is about creating a foundation for deeper understanding, not just of the situation, but of yourself and your partner. It's a practice that builds emotional intelligence and strengthens the bond between you. By taking this first step, you set the stage for a conversation that isn't just about resolving a misunderstanding, but about growing closer and evolving together. When you allow yourself this space, you also demonstrate self-respect and emotional maturity. You show your partner that you value the relationship enough to approach it thoughtfully, and that you're committed to creating an environment where both of you can thrive. It's a small step with profound implications, one that can transform the way you navigate challenges and build a relationship rooted in trust, respect, and understanding. When you feel misunderstood by your partner, cultivating curiosity is one of the most transformative approaches you can take. It's natural to want to defend your perspective or prove your point, but often that mindset creates a barrier rather than a bridge. Curiosity, on the other hand, invites connection. It shifts the focus from being right to understanding, from conflict to collaboration. It allows you to approach the situation with openness and a willingness to see things from a new perspective. Curiosity begins with letting go of assumptions. When you feel misunderstood, it's easy to assume that your partner is being dismissive, stubborn, or unwilling to listen. But these assumptions often cloud the truth of the situation. Perhaps your partner is distracted by their own worries or genuinely doesn't understand your point of view. When you release these preconceived notions, you create space for exploration and dialogue. Instead of saying, "You don't care about what I'm saying," you might ask, "Can you tell me what you're hearing me say?" This shift in approach fosters a sense of safety and invites your partner to engage in the conversation. Asking questions is one of the most powerful tools of curiosity, but not just any questions, intentional ones that seek to understand rather than accuse. Instead of asking, "Why don't you ever listen to me?" consider, what is it about this situation that feels challenging for you, or how are you experiencing this moment? These questions create opportunities for deeper insight, helping you uncover what's really going on beneath the surface. They also signal to your partner that you care about their experience and are willing to work together to find common ground. Cultivating curiosity also requires active listening. Too often we listen with the intent to respond rather than the intent to understand. We're already crafting our next argument or rebuttal before the other person has even finished speaking. But true curiosity involves giving your full attention to your partner, setting aside your own agenda, and focusing solely on what they're saying. It's about listening not just to their words, but to the emotions and intentions behind them. This kind of listening helps you grasp their perspective in a way that goes beyond surface-level understanding. Curiosity doesn't mean abandoning your own perspective or invalidating your feelings. It's about balancing your needs with a genuine desire to understand your partner's point of view. This balance is crucial because it fosters mutual respect. When your partner sees that you're genuinely interested in their experience, they're more likely to reciprocate and show curiosity about your perspective. This creates a positive feedback loop that strengthens your connection and makes it easier to resolve misunderstandings. One of the challenges of curiosity is overcoming the fear of vulnerability. Asking open-ended questions or inviting your partner to share their thoughts can feel risky, especially if emotions are running high. But vulnerability is a key ingredient in meaningful communication. It shows your partner that you're invested in the relationship and willing to put your ego aside for the sake of understanding. When you lead with vulnerability, you create an environment where honesty and openness can thrive. Curiosity also transforms the energy of the conversation. Instead of approaching the situation with frustration or defensiveness, you bring a sense of wonder and exploration. This shift can be disarming in the best way, diffusing tension and opening the door to new possibilities. Your partner may feel more willing to share their thoughts and feelings, knowing that they're being met with openness rather than judgment. Ultimately, cultivating curiosity is about choosing connection over conflict. It's about recognizing that misunderstandings are not battles to be won, but opportunities to grow closer and deepen your bond. When you approach your partner with genuine curiosity, you create a space where both of you can feel seen, heard, and valued. This practice not only resolves misunderstandings, but also strengthens the foundation of your relationship, allowing it to flourish in ways you may not have thought possible. Curiosity is a skill that takes practice, but its rewards are profound. By embracing this mindset, you transform challenges into opportunities for growth, fostering a relationship rooted in understanding and mutual respect. In the end, curiosity is not just a tool for communication, it's a way of being that brings more compassion, connection, and love into your relationship. When you feel misunderstood in a relationship, one of the most impactful things you can do is to express yourself with clarity and authenticity. Misunderstandings often arise not from a lack of love or care, but from a lack of clear communication. In the heat of the moment, emotions can muddle your message, leading to further confusion or defensiveness. However, when you approach the conversation with intention, vulnerability, and precision, you open the door to true understanding and connection. Clarity begins with knowing what you want to say. Before you enter a conversation, take time to reflect on your feelings and needs. Ask yourself, what am I trying to communicate here? What outcome am I hoping for? Often when we feel misunderstood, it's because we haven't articulated our thoughts in a way that the other person can fully grasp. By organizing your thoughts ahead of time, you give yourself the best chance of being heard and understood. Once you've identified your message, the next step is to express it authentically. Authenticity is about speaking from your heart, sharing your truth without pretense or manipulation. It's not about winning an argument or proving your point, it's about being honest about your experience. This kind of communication requires vulnerability, which can feel uncomfortable, but it's also what makes it powerful. When you share openly and genuinely, you invite your partner into your world and create a space for deeper connection. Using I statements is one of the most effective ways to communicate with clarity and authenticity. Instead of saying, "You never listen to me," which can feel like an accusation, try saying, "I feel unheard when this happens." This subtle shift in language makes a significant difference. It focuses on your feelings rather than your partner's perceived shortcomings, reducing the likelihood of defensiveness. It also helps your partner understand the impact of their actions without feeling attacked. It's equally important to avoid overgeneralizations and absolutes. Statements like "you always" or "you never" can be counterproductive, as they tend to exaggerate the issue and put your partner on the defensive. Instead, focus on specific behaviors or moments. For example, "When you were on your phone during dinner, I felt disconnected" is much more constructive than "you're always on your phone and don't care about us." Specificity fosters understanding, while sweeping generalizations only create more distance. Tone and delivery also play a critical role in clear communication. Even the most carefully chosen words can be misinterpreted if delivered with anger, sarcasm, or impatience. Approach the conversation with a calm and composed demeanor, even if emotions are running high. Take deep breaths, maintain eye contact, and speak with kindness. Your tone should reflect your intention to connect, not to blame or criticize. Clarity and authenticity also involve being open to feedback. Communication is a two-way street, and your partner may have their own thoughts or feelings to share. Listening actively and without interruption shows that you value their perspective, even if it differs from your own. This mutual exchange of ideas fosters understanding and creates a sense of teamwork in resolving the misunderstanding. Expressing yourself authentically doesn't mean you will always be immediately understood, but it does set the stage for meaningful dialogue. It demonstrates respect for yourself and your partner, signaling that you care enough about the relationship to approach the situation thoughtfully. Over time, this practice of clear and authentic communication becomes a foundation for trust and emotional intimacy. When you choose clarity and authenticity, you create a relationship dynamic where both partners feel safe to share their truths. It's not just about resolving the immediate misunderstanding, but about building a culture of openness and mutual respect. By expressing yourself in this way, you model the kind of communication you hope to receive in return, paving the way for a stronger and more fulfilling connection. In the end, clarity and authenticity are gifts you give not only to your partner, but also to yourself. They free you from the burden of unspoken expectations and misaligned assumptions, allowing you to live and love with greater ease and confidence. With each conversation, you strengthen the bond between you, proving that even in moments of misunderstanding, your relationship has the potential to grow and flourish. When you feel misunderstood, practicing empathy can be a transformative act that bridges the gap between you and your partner. Empathy is the ability to step into someone else's shoes and see the world through their eyes. It's about understanding their thoughts, feelings, and experiences without judgment. While it's easy to focus on your own emotions when you feel unheard, empathy invites you to consider what your partner may be feeling or experiencing in the same moment. It's a shift from me versus you to us, a way to foster connection rather than division. Empathy begins with genuine curiosity. Ask yourself, what might they be going through right now? What fears, frustrations, or insecurities could be influencing their actions or words? These questions aren't about excusing behavior, but about understanding the humanity behind it. Every person brings their own history, beliefs, and emotional triggers into a relationship, and these factors shape how they communicate and react. By acknowledging this, you create space for compassion, even in moments of conflict. Listening is a critical component of empathy. True listening means setting aside your own agenda and giving your full attention to your partner. It's not about waiting for your turn to speak or formulating a rebuttal while they're talking. Instead, it's about hearing their words, noticing their tone, and observing their body language. It's about seeking to understand not just what they're saying, but what they might be feeling beneath the surface. For example, if your partner seems dismissive, they might actually be feeling overwhelmed or unsure of how to respond. Empathy allows you to look beyond the immediate behavior and consider the underlying emotions. To practice empathy effectively, it's important to validate your partner's feelings. Validation doesn't mean you agree with their perspective or condone their actions. It simply means acknowledging their emotions as real and valid. So you might say, "I can see that this is really important to you," or "It sounds like you're feeling frustrated about this." These simple statements show that you're making an effort to understand their experience, which can help diffuse tension and foster a sense of safety in the conversation. Empathy also involves recognizing and managing your own emotional reactions. When you feel misunderstood, it's natural to feel defensive or hurt, but if you let those emotions dictate your response, it can escalate the conflict. Instead, take a moment to pause and breathe. Remind yourself that your partner's behavior isn't necessarily about you. It might be a reflection of their own struggles or fears. By calming your own emotions, you can approach the situation with greater clarity and compassion. Practicing empathy doesn't mean sacrificing your own needs or suppressing your feelings. It's about balancing your perspective with a genuine desire to understand your partners. When both people feel seen and heard, the foundation for mutual understanding becomes stronger. Empathy is a two-way street, and by modeling it in your interactions, you encourage your partner to do the same. This creates a positive cycle where both of you feel valued and supported. It's important to remember that empathy is a skill, not an innate trait. It takes practice, patience, and a willingness to step outside your comfort zone. There will be moments when it feels challenging, especially if emotions are running high or the misunderstanding feels particularly painful. But each time you choose empathy, you're investing in the health and resilience of your relationship. You're building a connection that can withstand conflict and grow stronger in its wake. At its core, empathy is about connection. It's about seeing your partner not as an adversary, but as a teammate, someone who is navigating life's challenges alongside you. It reminds you that you're in this together, even when it feels like you're on opposite sides. By practicing empathy, you create a space where understanding can flourish and where both of you can feel truly seen and valued. In the end, empathy transforms misunderstandings into opportunities for growth. It allows you to move beyond the surface level conflict and into a deeper, more meaningful connection. Through empathy, you cultivate a relationship built on trust, respect, and love, a relationship where both of you can thrive. And that ultimately is what understanding is all about. When faced with misunderstanding in a relationship, one of the most empowering steps you can take is to set clear boundaries. While the term boundaries might sound rigid or even confrontational, they are, in truth, an act of care not just for yourself, but for the relationship as a whole. Boundaries create a framework within which both partners can feel safe, respected, and valued. They provide clarity about what you need, what you can offer, and how you expect to be treated, making them essential for fostering mutual understanding. The first step in setting boundaries is self-awareness. You cannot articulate what you need if you're not clear about it yourself. This requires introspection and honesty. Ask yourself, what behaviors or patterns leave me feeling unheard or disrespected? What do I need to feel valued and secure in this relationship? These questions help you identify where boundaries are needed. For example, you might realize that constant interruptions during discussions make you feel dismissed, or that dismissive remarks about your emotions leave you feeling invalidated. Recognizing these triggers is the foundation for setting effective boundaries. Once you're clear on your needs, the next step is communicating them to your partner. This communication must be done with clarity and kindness. It's not about issuing ultimatums or blaming your partner. It's about expressing your needs in a way that invites understanding and collaboration. For instance, instead of saying, "You always interrupt me," you might say, "I feel unheard when I'm interrupted. It would mean a lot to me if we could focus on listening to each other fully during conversations." This approach not only conveys your boundary, but also frames it as an opportunity for mutual respect and growth.